Strong gains there recorded by banks as well as consumer goods stocks tipped Nigeria's broad index back into negative territory. Now, this as the market continues to digest mixed third quarter earnings. Esili Igbe, who's an equities analyst at Stanbic IBTC, joins me now for more. Esili, I'd like us to start off with the October PMI data out from Nigeria. Up marginally, what might be some of the contributing factors to this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is the earnings season, so investors tend to pay a lot of attention to what's going on there. And as you've mentioned yourself, it's been kind of mixed, so I think investors are still trying to adjust that. But where they've seen the opportunity to take profit, stocks that have done pretty well ahead of the season, they've taken profits or taken profits there. But I still think that, some of the strong names, Tier 1 banks, for example, did relatively okay. And you're more likely to see some people coming back into those names.
Esili, let's take a look at the some of the indices that you track with regard to the PMI data. I understand that 4 out of the 5 were up in positive territory. Can this be sustained and maintained in the long term?
Well, to be honest, I haven't sort of taken a close look at the PMI data you talk about, but I do believe that the macro environment in Nigeria is pretty robust for the growth that a number of analysts are projecting for local companies, including the banks. So I do believe there's a decent foundation for the growth that the PMI recorded, even though marginal.
Esili, your thoughts on Nigeria as a manufacturing sector and your outlook for the next year to come? I understand that there's been a lot of volatility and strife there.
Not for everybody. I think that particularly for staple food producers, we've seen pretty strong growth there. We've seen less for discretionary food producers, but in terms of sort of infrastructure-based companies, I think that performance has remained relatively strong. There's a big deficit here, as you know, so we're seeing quite a big import substitution, and that's played very positively for local producers.
Esili, though, your thoughts on the impact on these sectors, in particular regarding the economic reforms taking place, especially with regard to the power sector?
Well, we're still in very early stages as far as sort of the impact of the reforms the power sector will have. But you're right in the sense that, looking 3 years down the line, I think that the potential could be significant. I think a lot of analysts haven't really started to price that in because I guess in most people's mind, there's still a little bit of skepticism. People want to see the federal government hand over some of those power plants or distribution companies to, the preferred bidders today. So I think today is the announced day for handing over. But I think that they have done relatively well in terms of improving efficiency. And so if you look at some of the infrastructure-based companies like Lafarge, WAPCO, Dangote, the growth that they've witnessed in the third quarter were largely on the back of improving operating efficiency. So making sure that they're using relatively cheaper energy to produce cement.
Just to close off with your thoughts with regard to your expectations with regard to today's market performance in Nigeria, what are you anticipating to see?
Today's Friday, so you typically then see some weakness, ahead of sort of gains we've seen in previous sessions. So it's likely we see a pretty similar trend as we did yesterday, slight profit taking. But it wouldn't surprise me if the market starts to pick up again in the coming week. I think that the Fed sort of remains somewhat dovish. I think overall means that you're still likely to see liquidity flowing into markets like this.